I was just asking. I know you're a traditionalist. Your sport is a tradition-rich sport, and you love the traditions. I mean the noisemakers. I think the drums, the that kind of thing. And I know that was one of the reasons that end area was built in Patterson Stadium to kind of kick that up a notch with Oklahoma State cowgirl soccer. But have you ever thought of having a pep band?
It'd be great to have one for sure. If that's something that we could get approved, I'd be for it, because even just having the guys beating on those drums and noisemakers out there is awesome. So if we had any sort of pep band, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool, especially for like bigger matches. Have a little kind of mix traditional soccer with traditional collegiate type stuff. I'm not saying well, Pistol Pete out there is
Yeah.
cool too. I've seen Pete at
Yep.
soccer matches, so yeah, I could get into that. Um, hey, let's get this out of the way quickly. I last week y'all went to Fort Worth, and what did your team get hijacked and you sent a replacement? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great
It
question.
was
I think for the first half, it felt that way. No, I mean, a couple of things that to me contributed to the match. First of all, TCU is really good. You can't sugarcoat that anyway. They're number 3 in the country for a reason. So they've got a great
yeah
team. A lot of respect for their coaches. They had a great game plan, and they have a goalkeeper who's with Kim with the Mexican national team, and they got a forward that was drafted as a top 5 pick in NWSL, and those two kids on the night were special. Yasmin Ryan had 2 goals and 2 assists, and Emily Alvarado made 3 great saves. So you got to give credit to the other team. From our perspective, though, Robert, we did not play the way we were capable of playing in the first half, and you get away with that if you're playing a team that maybe isn't quite as good, but you don't get away with it when you're playing against a top 5 team. So we know we can play better. We were disappointed. Second half, our kids showed a lot of fight and desire, and I thought we played them pretty straight up for a half, but the damage was done in the first half.
well and again, you have those every once in a while. I mean, we're not talking about machines here. These are human
Right.
beings, and they have their highs and lows. It's kind of like Eddie Sutton once told me, you can only reach that magic. And he was talking about a basketball season with about 30 games. He goes, you only reach that magic level about 5 times a year.
Yeah.
You're going to have about 5 times a year where you're going to be way below, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And it's the other ones in between that you try and get the most out of whatever you've got that day and hope that it's enough. So, and I kind of believe in that theory. I mean, no team ever plays their very best every time out.
Yeah, I think coach is on, a wise man, obviously, and I think it's very true in all sports, right? You remember those big time performances, but most of the time you're just looking for a level of consistency somewhere in the middle. And unfortunately, we fell below that against a great team. And what we talked to our team about was if we have another one of those days on Sunday against Notre Dame, it's going to be a similar outcome because they're a good team. So hopefully that's out of the way, and I truly believe our kids will respond and play a lot better on Sunday.
Yeah, and I just mentioned this. We're still seeing some signs around. Baseball had to find a different opponent for this weekend. We're still seeing that. And in doing some research, Notre Dame has had recent issues with. They've had a couple of matches canceled. In fact, I think your match is their return to competition.
Yeah, that's right. They had some COVID issues going on within their program. About 3 weeks ago, I think it was when it started, and so they canceled their matches with Missouri and Kansas over the last 2 weeks. Talking to their coach, he felt like they probably could have played, but they just didn't feel it was right to maybe travel. With a little bit of uncertainty within their group because they had a couple of positives, and I'm sure they were a little depleted as we've talked about all season. I don't know many teams that have played every game at 100% this year because of all the COVID and injuries. So, they're probably a little depleted and didn't want to put their squad in that position. So, they got everybody back, I want to say Monday or Tuesday of this week, and he felt great about coming here for the match Sunday. So good news for us is, they're good to go. We're ready to play, and, unfortunate for them that they had to miss a couple of games.
Well, and like you said, they're a good. They're a good team. They knocked off a 13th ranked Louisville team earlier this year. Plus, they play in the ACC, so they see North Carolina and people like that. They played a bunch of really good teams and played tight. I think their match with North Carolina was 2-0, and they played some other ranked opponents, Florida State that's really good, and so forth. So. You're going to get a good match. And I also noticed their schedule. They're kind of taking on the Big 12's best the next 2 weeks because they come in here and then they're going to play TCU the week after.
Yeah, I obviously when we were talking to them about playing, we looked at their schedule and same as you, it caught my attention in the fall. Excuse me, they went 4-5, but their 5 losses were all against good teams. So I don't think you hold that against anybody. And then this spring, they played Cincinnati, they played Missouri, they won both those games. They intended to play Missouri, Kansas, us, and TCU. And, I think in their mind, they probably felt like if they could get 5 or 6 wins out of those 7 or 8 games, they'd have a shot at the NCAAs. And unfortunately, with their 2 cancellations, that might not be the case anymore. But look, they're a good team. I looked down their roster, and there's former youth national team players and current under-20 national team players, and they're legit. They're a good team. So we understand the challenge, and we're excited. It's a great opportunity for our kids to play against a really good team at home, and hopefully it'll be a great environment.
Yeah, and talking about your team, because postseason is, and this is a weird year. We talked about this the last time you were on, how kind of crazy it is to be playing highly competitive soccer in the spring, and also thinking about winning a championship, an NCAA tournament. As you look at it now, I mean, you've got to feel pretty good about being in the NCAA, but I know this, you and your staff and your team would love for part of that NCAA tournament. And we don't know, maybe they'll go into a bubble. I haven't heard the latest on that, but possibly playing some NCAA tournament play here at Patterson Stadium.
Yeah, so the first thing, the update from the NCAA came about a week ago, I think, maybe 2, I can't remember. But anyway, they are moving the tournament to North Carolina.
Okay.
The state of North Carolina. They've got about 10 to 12 venues picked out. Some colleges, some local club complexes, and they're moving the 48 women's teams and the 32 men's teams to the state of North Carolina. Other than that, we have no idea how that's going to look, where we might be, who's playing who or any of that stuff. We just know that's what their plan is. They've given us the dates, and they've given us the state of North Carolina, and that's about it.
Well, and obviously, you might talk to Coach Boynton, Coach Littell, because they've taken their teams into the bubble, and that would basically be what you go into. And I've got to think it's a unique experience. I mean, you feel like you know your team well, but you're probably going to get to know them all. Everybody's going to get to know everybody even better in that situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to those guys a little bit, and and also talked to Coach Smith with wrestling. And I think with basketball being as high profile as it is, they were ultra restrictive with their bubbles. I mean, just lockdown. I think with the other sports, there will be some protocols, but I do think there'll be a little bit more leniency, maybe as far as friends and family go and things like that. But, part of that's going to depend on COVID as well. If the state of North Carolina's numbers look good, I'm sure everybody feels better about it. And if they have some sort of spike going on, then, it could be a little tougher.
Yeah, as you look at your team coming out of last week heading into the Notre Dame match, and also this, just playing one match a week, which is different. Typically in a soccer season, you guys would be playing a Thursday, Sunday generally, or Friday, Sunday sometimes. Do you feel like your team is into the routine that they're in now and comfortable with it?
Yeah, I think we are. It's definitely been different for sure. And even as coaches, we always want to do more. We always try to get our kids better prepared for the match. And what we learned through the fall was, sometimes less is more. We were doing too much training and not giving them enough downtime because we had those extra days to play with that we didn't. Normally we're playing 2 games a week, and you're not really training at that high a tempo because you're just preparing for games. So we had to make some adjustments. They get an extra day off this spring. We've consistently had 2 days off every week instead of one. And then also just our training load. We've tried to make sure 1 or 2 of the days were a little bit lighter than usual. So, we're all learning. This is just a unique situation. But I do think the team are now in a little bit of a rhythm. They get it. They understand it. And to be honest, the biggest challenge has been some of the reserve players who would normally, when you're playing 2 games a weekend, there's a lot more minutes up for grabs to get on the field. And, when you've got 1 game a weekend, somebody like Grace Yoakum probably isn't coming off the field. And so some of those minutes have disappeared. So managing those kids and trying to keep them positive and letting them know that their opportunities will come, it just might not be immediate. That's been one of the biggest challenges this spring.
Well, and then also the thing I've been amazed at is your durability in the goal, where you've had some injuries with Emily and she's missed some time, but you've had great play there, even goalkeeper of the week type play.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We came into last fall with 4 goalkeepers, and all 4 of them can play. They're all decent, have good attributes and could certainly help us win. And then, as we got out of the fall season, Emily had established herself as our starter, and so one of the other goalkeepers transferred, another one opted out and just finished her degree at home in California. So all of a sudden we went down to 2, and then Emily got her suspension for the red card, and then has been injured the last couple of weeks, and so Amber stepped up and played. So yeah, I mean, whoever's in there, we have confidence that they can help us win, and both of them are in full training this week, so we'll let them go through Saturday, and Saturday we'll take a look at it, we'll make a decision, and whoever we pick, I'll have full confidence that they can get the job done against Notre Dame.
Last thing, we'll let you go. Notre Dame in to play Oklahoma State, and this is Notre Dame's again. I think they're either 4-5 or 5-5, and coming in here on Sunday for a 1:00 match. And I was going to ask you, what's the latest on tickets? Because this would be one. I would encourage anybody out there, if you have not gone to a match at Neil Patterson Stadium, and I know we're still under restrictive attendance, if you can get your hands on a ticket, or Colin, if you can update and let them know what the ticket situation looks like, this would be a great match to go to. 2 really great programs, and in normal years, these would be two NCAA programs going deep. Notre Dame is probably on the bubble or behind it right now. Oklahoma State steaming forward, but what's the ticket situation?
Yeah, I think it'll be very similar to Bedlam a couple of weeks ago. Tickets will be on sale. A limited number of tickets, I should say, will be on sale through the online system at okstate.com. And then based on those sales and based on our pass lists for us in Notre Dame, there'll be a limited number of walk-up tickets available on game day. That's generally what they've done. And I think they're letting about 600 or 700 into the stadium, some 500, 600, 700. About 25% capacity. So there will be some tickets, but yeah, I'm with you. I think there's been kind of a buzz around. A lot of family and friends are coming to this game, so I would imagine those tickets might go pretty quick. So if somebody is really thinking about going on Sunday, I would go online and try to get those tickets ordered as soon as possible.
All right, good luck. Looking forward to it.
All right, sounds great, Robert. Thanks.
All right, Colin Carmichael, head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirls, and I wanted to get him on.